All right, y'all. So now we're on verses 29 to 31, celestial bodies or celestial symbols. I would consider this like judgment language part two. Here we get into the symbolism of the sun, the moon, and the stars. For a long time, I took these to be literal, as in these were literal things, excuse me, that would happen to the sun, moon, and the stars. And let me be a little more specific here about what I mean by I used to think these were more literal. I thought that these would be signs that would be visible and they would be very similar to like what we like seeing an eclipse and the moon turning like darkening a shade of red or something like that, and then just like things falling from the sky. And maybe John just called them stars. Now, even with that interpretation, that idea of what it possibly means, and saying, maybe that's what John meant when he said that, we have to ask, is that really what he meant? The way that we find that out is by seeing how the term is used or the phrase is used throughout the rest of scripture, because the Old Testament is going to tell us what that actually means or what it actually represents. However, when applying a bit of common sense, I realized that for the sun to go dark and not give its light means every living thing on earth will perish in 8 minutes. In case you didn't know, that's how long it takes from the light for the light of the sun to reach the earth. It takes about 8 minutes. For the moon to be disturbed would lead to the bodies of oceans to be or being disturbed. We know that the moon controls the tides. As for the stars, for the sun to be the size of millions of Earths, while at the same time being considered the smallest or a smaller star compared to the other stars in our galaxy, a star traveling towards us would consume us, not fall on us. Like it just wouldn't make any logical sense for stars, multiple stars, to fall on us when one star would take us out, most definitely. Now that we understand that these things cannot be literal, the next question is, what do these things mean? What does it mean that the sun will be darkened? What does it mean that the moon will turn blood red and not give its light? What does it mean that the stars will fall from the sky? What does it mean that the powers of the heavens will be shaken? Let's take a look at the beginning of creation, shall we? Genesis 1, verses 14 through 18 read, Then God said, Let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Let them be for lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth. And so it was. So God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and also the stars. And God placed them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So not only do these celestial bodies have an actual function, it appears they also represent governmental structures. The sun governs the day, and its light separates day from night. The moon and the stars govern the night and separate the darkness from the light. These celestial bodies are the powers of the heavens, the sun being the ruler of the day, the moon and stars being the rulers of the night. For these authorities to be shaken may be to symbolize a destruction of governmental structures. Do you guys follow that? I understand. Y'all probably never, ever, ever heard anyone speaking or interpreting this like in this way before. But what really can I say? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sitting here reading this through to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just being like, oh yeah, you'll read it for yourself and you'll see it. No, look, can anyone really argue with this? Like I didn't wake up one day and just all of a sudden knew all this stuff. This is like it took time. It took real study, real diligent study. I don't know what y'all study habits be like. I feel like most of y'all say y'all study, but really that just means y'all read other people's commentaries, which is cool, but why we read one commentary over another? What if the commentary you're reading doesn't have an accurate interpretation? What if they're interpreting based on their biases? Joseph had a dream that his family would be subject to him as a ruling authority over them. He had a dream in which his father and mother were the sun and moon, and his brothers were the stars. They were all bowing to him. That's Genesis 37, verses 9 through 10. We also see that the woman in Revelation 12 is symbolic of Israel being clothed with the sun, the moon underneath her feet, with a crown of 12 stars. That's Revelation 12 and 1. If you guys recall, when I went over when I was doing the Revelation study, I mentioned that the number 12 seems to represent or indicate some type of governmental number. We got 12 patriarchs, we got the 12 disciples, we got the 12 sons of Israel. It seems to represent some type of governmental whatever or judicial. It seems to be a judicial number. Isaiah 13, prophesying the coming judgment, saying, the day of Yahweh is coming with fury and anger to make the land a desolation. That's Isaiah 13 and 8. Also says that the stars of heaven will not flash forth their light. The sun will be darkened and the moon will not shed its light. That's Isaiah 13 and 10. This was in reference to judgment against Babylon for what it does to Israel and Judah. Isaiah 13 and 11. And when I extinguish you, I will cover the heavens and darken their stars. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon will not give its light. All the shining lights in the heavens I will darken over you, and will give darkness on your land, declares Lord Yahweh. For thus says Lord Yahweh, the sword of the king of Babylon will come upon you. This is Ezekiel chapter 32, verses 7 through 8, and verse 11. So the language of the sun, the moon, and the stars has to do with Yahweh bringing judgment upon a nation. These are not literal things that will happen to the celestial bodies. Rather, they are symbolic of the destruction Yahweh brings in judgment against a nation. With this in mind, now let us look at Matthew 24, verses 29 and 30. Matter of fact, let's park it right here, and we'll pick up in a part 2 with Matthew in the next video.